What's up everyone? We're going to be making a fishing bot today in Win Automation version 9. I've already made one of the fishing bots, but I'm going to make another one for video, so I'm going to go ahead and make a new process here called fishing bot v2. Okay, minimize that and bring this over here so we can see it a bit better. Okay, so the first thing, you need RuneLite Plus version 0.22 with the RID toolbox. What you have to do is attach it to the RuneLite window. I've already showed how to do that in one of my other videos. Once you've attached it, you'll get the RID RuneLite toolbox just like that. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is add a focus window to Win Automation and drag that onto my RuneLite window, and I'm going to rename the window title to RuneLite Dash, and then I'm going to put a wildcard there, which is the asterisk, since sometimes I use a different account. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is focus on the window. I'm going to make a few new functions. The first function I'm going to call, I'll just call it click, and the second function I'm going to call this one drop. Alrighty, so we have our fishing plugin turned on. All you have to do is search fishing in RuneLite and it'll pop up. I've turned off the spot icons since they just tend to get in the way. Go ahead and close that. I'm going to use RID Genesis Toolbox to actually highlight the actual fishing spot. So I'm going to open up the developer tools and then turn on NPCs, since the actual fishing spots are an NPC and their ID is 1530. So all we have to do, add a new object. 1530 is the ID and it is an NPC, so we'll tick that and we will turn the color to blue. So now all of our spots are highlighted. We can go ahead and go back to the developer tools and turn off NPCs. So to start things off, we want to move the mouse to an image, and we just want to take a little picture of the blue pixel, just like that. I'm just going to call it blue for now, and we want to search on the foreground window only, which is the RuneLite window. We want to move our mouse with fast animation speed. Advanced, we want to send a left click 1 second after moving the mouse. That gives the mouse in the game time to adjust to the movement. Okay, so everything looks pretty good there. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly run that. Awesome, so did actually find it pretty fine. Once we click it, in the top left of our RuneLite window, once we start fishing, the fishing plugin will pop up with a window up here. What we want to do now, there's the window. I've already highlighted the item in my inventory, but what you want to do is turn on inventory tags. So just turn that on, then right click the inventory bag and go configure, and just hold shift, right click, and you can mark the fish. So I'll mark it with green, just like that. Now I want to run function, click. I want to run drop at the end of the script, but firstly we want to run click. Alright, actually I'll rename this to wait. So we have this function called wait. So we want to wait for the image, and the image we want to wait for is the green fishing image up here in the top left. So we want to take a picture of that pixel, just like that, drag it, and only get the green. It's a bit touchy, but come on. There it is. So I'm just going to call that fishing left. I'm going to change the foreground window. I'm going to change the specific region. Select the rune light window and just select that little area where the fishing word is up in the top left. Okay, so we're going to fail if the image doesn't appear in 10 seconds. Okay, and once we find that, we want to wait for that image to go away. So we will leave it, we'll change that to disappear, but we'll leave everything else. And we're going to change this fail if image does not appear to 60 seconds or so. One of the things we're going to have to solve is this congratulations message that tends to interrupt the phishing session. But for now, we're just going to run function drop, and we're going to configure the drop. So I'm going to add a label, and we'll just call this top drop. And I'm also going to add a go-to at the bottom. Okay, and now I'm going to say if image exists, and I'm going to take a picture of that green pixel. Now this pixel is identical to the fishing pixel up in the top left, so we need to change the subregion so it only looks in the inventory. If I can get it. Come on. Actually, I'm going to press escape real quick and I'll try again. This should be a bit better. There we go. Green, just going to call it green fish. We'll search on the foreground window, and we're going to search in a specific subregion, and we're going to just select the entire inventory. That way we only look in this area for that pixel. We're going to say if that image exists, we want to move the mouse to that image with a natural speed, not fast speed. And we want to search on the foreground window only. And we're going to change the subregion again to the rainlight window inventory. Just like that. What's the issue here? Oh, yep, gotta select the image green fish. And now I'm going to add a else just above the end if. And I'm going to say I'm going to move this go to top drop and put that there. That way for each fish that it finds, it'll go back up and restart the function again. So it'll check if the image exists. If it does, it drops it. And if it does, it drops it. And once it stops finding it, it'll exit the function, which is what we'll add now. So else, we exit the function. And now we need to add the key pressed, since we're using shift drop. So if the image exists, we want to press shift. Press the shift key. Release the shift key. And for good measure, I'm going to put release shift key on a few of these things in case we interrupt the bot later and the shift key gets stuck down, which tends to happen to me a lot. Okay, so now for every green fish, it'll drop it automatically and move the mouse to it. That looks pretty good. I'm just going to go ahead and run this and just do a little debug test and we'll see how it goes. So press play. So it moves to the fishing spot and we're currently fishing. It's found the green pixel up in the top left. Fishing went away. So it exited the function. But the reason it didn't restart was because we don't have a label and a go-to. So I'm just going to add a label. I'm going to call it main. And I'm going to say go to main. I'll restart that. Okay, so it waited for the image. I'm going to change this. I'm going to remove the fail if the image doesn't exist. The reason for that is the RuneLite plugin only pops up, the fishing plugin only pops up on the left once you've actually fished. I don't know why it reset, even though it hadn't been 5 minutes, but whatever. Okay, so I'm just going to close that, rerun it again. Okay, I think I forgot to add a click, so it's actually not clicking, which is fine. I'll fix that in a second. So go back here, move mouse to the image, green fish. Yeah, I forgot to add the click. Send a left click after moving the mouse. I'm not going to make it wait a second, or else dropping the entire inventory will take forever. If you want to, you can find the location of your inventory. You just drag over a send mouse click, press Control Shift to grab the current location. So I'm going to put it like there also, and it grabbed the X and Y. I'm going to make it move there fast before it runs the drop function. That way it doesn't take forever to move the mouse back. It'll move it quickly and then it'll drop at a normal speed. So I'm just going to let it run there. What did it fail on? We'll check the errors. Image not found on the foreground window. That's all good. We will go to the next action. Actually no, we want to go to label, and we'll put a label here. I'm going to call this label exit fish, and here I'm going to make it exit function. So now if it fails to find the fish, it'll go to label exit fish rather than get stuck in that function, and it won't crash or it won't throw that error anymore. That should be good. I'll run it again. Awesome. So it dropped everything fine. The only thing I want to change is, I might just remove that completely. I don't like things where it's predictable and it's a pattern, so let's get rid of that for now. I'll go ahead and add a random though. I'm just going to call this random.1, and we'll just make it move the mouse with a fast speed, I guess. I'm going to generate two random numbers. So I'm going to put, my screen resolution is 2560 by 1440, so I could do 1 by 2560 for the X. So I'll just call this random X. And I'm going to copy and paste that. And I'm going to replace the second number with 1440, which is the height of my screen. So up and down and left and right. I'm going to replace the X and change that to random Y. And now I'll replace the X and Y in this with a variable. So random X and random Y. So now when we run this, the mouse will move randomly somewhere on the screen. Another thing I like to do, I'll create another random, so it's random 2. I will generate random text. I'll make it like minimum length 100, maximum length 300 or something like that. And then I will run application path. I'm just going to quickly search down here, notepad, right click, open file location, grab that path, accessories, and I'm just gonna click that accessories. There's Notepad, so I'm gonna open that. Run application. So when I start that, opens up Notepad, and then we want it to focus that window. Untitled Notepad. Well, actually, I will get rid of that window title. Replace it for wildcard, and now I'll make it type text with send keys, I guess. Send keys, and the variable will be the random text that we generated and the milliseconds between each key. I'll change that to about 30 maybe. Actually, I'll go 20. This way it's like we're typing or something like that, doing other things outside of the game. That was a bit faster than I wanted, so I'm just going to change this to like 50. Try it again. Yeah, it's a bit better. I think a good amount of keys. We'll see how many that was. I think that was about 100 keys. Yeah, we'll just say that was about 100. So we'll go 100 to 200 keys. We won't use symbols, just one more time real quick. So that looks good. That looks like we're active on the computer and we're doing something while this is running. And to close the Notepad process, we're going to run a dose command. We're going to type taskkill/f/im notepad.exe. So taskkill/f/im notepad.exe. So it pretty much forces the application to quit. So I'll run the whole thing and we'll have a look at it. So that works pretty well. Obviously, if you're using this type of random event or random on your computer, you won't be able to be doing things on your computer while the bot's running, which is obviously not optimal for a lot of people. You can obviously run the bot in a virtual machine. A lot of people don't like to do that either, which is understandable, but because we're running this type of bot, that's one of the sacrifices we had to make, I guess. That's 2 randoms. Random for the third random, if you really wanted to, you could log out of the game. For example, you could move the mouse to the image, add the cross or whatever, like that. Call that logout cross. Fast speed, send a left click after we move the mouse to it. I'm going to run that real quick. And then we want to move the mouse to the logout button. Click here to log out. So I'll go ahead and select that. Logout button. Fast speed, left click, yep, that's all good. Alright, so what we want to do now is generate a random number for how long we want to be logged out for. We'll just call this like logout mins, and we'll say the minimum we're logged out for is 4 minutes, maximum's 10, and we will wait for logout mins because this is in seconds. We want to wait for logout mins times 60. So I'm going to quickly generate that. So now it should be waiting for 480 seconds, or I think that's correct. I can do this really quick to test it. So I'll go set variable. Just going to press OK real quick, copy paste this, and it'll be stored into new variable. So I'm going to quickly put a little dot there to stop it running. 600 seconds for 10, yes, that's correct. So we just want to stop that, go to that set variable. Yeah, so once it waits the whatever allotted time that it randomly generates, we want to click on existing user. So we will just move mouse to image. I'm just going to press OK and move that because I put it in the wrong spot. Move mouse to image, add image, and we want to add this image here, existing user. Whoops. I want to search on the foreground window, fast speed, we want to send a left click, and we want to send the keys to log in. So I'm just going to quickly test that. Yep. So now we have to send the keys, and it'll be our password and also a enter key. So I'm just going to put this variable here called password, and I'm going to create a variable up here in the variables manager. Add a new variable. I'm going to call it password, and I'm going to type my password here in the initial value. You'll have to do the same thing. So just type your password into the initial value there. So you type password or whatever your password is. Put a description there. So I'll record after I've done that. Alright, cool, we're back. So I'm just going to go ahead and test this and log out real quick. Start from here. We log out, and the bot wants to wait for 6 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and just force it to go to the next thing real quick. So now we go start from here. Image not found. Oh yeah, I've got to focus on the window. Here we go, so it logs in. You can make it send the keys a lot slower, that way it doesn't muck up when it's typing the password. So let's go 50, and then we want to move the mouse to this image. Click here to play. There we go. So once that happens, we'll give it like, I don't know, we'll give it like 5 seconds to log in properly. So now we want to run at least one random every time, or every third time. So I would generate a random number, like so, between 1 and 3. And I would say if random number, text random number, what do you think? Random number. If random number equals 1, I'm going to copy this and paste it twice. Random number equals 2, random number equals 3. Now I will copy paste that, and I'll replace the function it runs. So random 1, random 2, and random 3. Just like that. So every time it'll randomly pick one of the randoms that we do. You can also add, you could generate like 1 to 10 or something like that. That way it doesn't always run a random. So we'll just leave it like that, and I'll give it a shot real quick. So the number it generated was 8. That means we're not going to do a random this time. I'm going to quickly add random 4. We can generate a random number between, let's say, 20 and 60 seconds. Of course, random weight, rand 4. Awesome. So it's running random event number 2. Leveled up. We want to add a if image exists, and we'll take a picture of, click here to continue. I'm going to increase the tolerance to about 20 and foreground window only. Search specific subregion, and I'm going to change it to like around there. We want to, I guess, press a key. Maybe we can press space. No, we can't. That's alright. We can move the mouse to the image. It should work. I have to remove that exception. There. So I'm just going to quickly run that. Didn't detect the image, that's all good. Delete that image and we'll take a new one. Capture. Click here to continue. Change that name. And I'm going to change the tolerance to like 50. Different subregion. And I'll increase the subregion a lot. Move mouse, we'll try that now. Yep. Does it have an offset? No, it doesn't. For some reason it's not clicking the right thing, so I'm just going to increase the offset by about 13 and the natural speed to fast speed, and we'll see how that goes. There we go, that worked alright. So if image exists, I'll rename that image to click here v2, change the subregion to whatever it was like around there. So we'll just do that. And the tolerance to about 50. I could make that its own function. Like that. And I'll just cut and paste this into the new function. Go back. And I'll just run that function in between other actions. So there, and there. Go back to main before we do that. And we'll just check for a level pretty much constantly everywhere. That way if we get interrupted, we won't, the bot won't get mucked up. And there. So that should be good to go now. So we're running random number 2 once again. It's pretty cool. Closes it. I'm just going to change this to 3, so I'll force it to do the logout one, and I'm just going to close that since the bot runs faster outside of the designer, and I'll press start. So we can see down here on the bottom right, yep, we're logging out, and the bot will wait however many seconds it decides, and it should log us back in. So I'm just going to AFK and let it go. So we're back. It ran into an error. We'll check what that error is real quick. Move mouse to image. So the error was we didn't wait for the image to be found. It was error on random 3 action 8. So we'll go ahead and check that out real quick. Random 3 action 8. Click here to play. All we have to do is click wait for the image to appear. Wait for like 10 seconds. We'll do the same thing here. Wait for the image to appear, 10 seconds. Do the same thing for all of them. Here we generate a random number. I said earlier it was between 1 and 10, but it does have the potential to generate the same random number over and over. We don't want to get stuck in it generating the logout random. So what I would do is I would say generate the random number, and I would set a variable. Set variable, and the random number would be the variable. And I'll call this previous rand. If random number, where are you? Random number equals previous rand, then we want to add a label. Let's redo, and we want to go back and regenerate the number. Go back to redo. Now on our first load we want to generate the original number so it has something to go off of. So we will say set variable, and we'll put this above everything, and we'll call this value 1. Actually no, we'll call it 0. We'll call this first load rand. Actually no, I'll just call it random number. Or I could store it into random previous rand. Previous rand I'll put as 0. So that now, instead of having to worry about generating the same number over and over and over again, if we do generate the same number, we go back up to redo, which is here, and then we regenerate the number again until we get a separate number. Honestly, with the logout random, I would probably count each loop. So here I would, at the top, I would create a new variable called loops, and I'd start it off at 0, and I would increase that variable every time we go around the loop. So I would increase loops by 1, and with random 3, if random number equals 3, then I would say also if loops is greater than or equal to, we'll say, I don't know, 20. If we've done 20 inventory drops, then we'll do the logout loop. I'll move that down there. So if we generate random number 3 and we've done 20 loops, then we can do that. But after we do that, we want to set the variable back to 0. Set the value 0 into loops. That way it starts again once we log back in. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. I mean, I've gone into detail about randoms, different functions and whatnot, pretty much covered everything. Can't really think of anything else, but I'll include a link to this project so you can check out the source code and whatnot. You can build off it if you want to, or maybe give it a look and learn from it. If you have any questions or anything, just leave a comment, or you can message me directly and let me know what's up.